we are under attack, and people need to wake up and see what's happening here. So, this episode, this is Sarah Adams on Sean Ryan, and she was predicting a lot of things she thinks are going to happen in 2025. Unfortunately, some of those things already started happening, but she was saying in this episode she believes there's about 1,000 people here that are trained and ready to go, if you know what I mean. And Sean Ryan's like, "Are you sure it's that's a lot?" And she's like, "Well, it could be more than that. They had 1,400 in this one area that's a lot smaller than the US." And look, I don't know who or why or what yet. There's a lot of different things that are happening simultaneously that I'll get into it. That makes me believe that just we're all under attack. Look at everything that's happened within the past 24 hours, 48 hours, past week. So we had the attack in New Orleans. People are just there to have a really good time, to celebrate. There's a huge football game that's happening the very next day. Actually, the University of Georgia, so it's UGA and Notre Dame that are supposed to play in the football game. UGA came out and made a statement and said that they were really sad they're having to postpone the game, so that'll happen today. And they had a student, a UGA student, that was critically injured in the attack. UGA is also in Athens, Georgia. UGA is also one of the universities that Laken Riley attended. So these students at UGA, they're still mourning what happened to Laken Riley and still getting over that. And then this is happening. And I'm using that as an example to show you we are under attack. There is one thing that is similar with all these attacks, whether you're looking at the random subway attacks that have been happening in this poor woman who was burned alive, or the random punchings that are happening, some of the murders that have Rachel Morin, Laken Riley, Jocelyn Nungery, Brianna Cutfer was a girl that was murdered by a homeless guy in Los Angeles. That was completely random. He just hated women, and we know this because he said it and he left a recording next to her. It was totally random. He just saw that she was a woman. Same with Laken, totally random. Same with the woman on the subway, totally random. A lot of these attacks are completely random. We, as a Western civilization, are under attack, and the enemy is already here. They're already here. And what she's specifically talking about too in this episode are different types of attacks, and some of them will look like swarming attacks, which have already happened in other countries. She also talks about, styles of attacks that are like October 7th, like what happened there. And I want to speak on that because I was actually in New York City October of last year when that happened. And this is what doesn't get talked about enough. And look, I don't know a whole lot about that conflict. I stay out of it. It's not my level, it's not my expertise. I talk about other things. But I do know that I was in New York City when that happened. And before Israel even responded, before we even had an official count or all the information, there were people en masse in Times Square celebrating the initial attack before anyone responded. And they felt bold enough to do that in public. I feel like 20, 30 years ago, you wouldn't feel bold enough to do that in public, but they did. Not only are people here that share this ideology, they feel so emboldened that they're willing to go out and say these things in public. The same thing just happened in the wake of New Orleans. And my experience in New York City at that time, it was really crazy because the day before, I was like, you know what, I'm here, I'm just going to go walk by the Roosevelt Hotel really quick. I'm just going to check it out because I cover the border on my channel, and I didn't expect it to affect me the way that it did. And if you've been to any of these shelters or you've been around them, you know how it's just a strange, bizarre feeling. You feel like a foreigner in your own country and like you're not even wanted there. So I just walked by the perimeter of the hotel, or as far as the perimeter that I could get. It's on a corner. And it was just so bizarre. I felt so unwelcome there. It was so weird and uncomfortable. And then I bump into the National Guard, and the National Guard is there guarding the hotel, guarding the people that are not in the country illegally. From who? Me? Like, and here I am, this woman, you grow up like, oh, military men, they're so attractive, they protect us. It's so nice to be a woman. And no, they're not protecting me. They're protecting the people that invaded my country. And I looked at them and I felt so angry, very much angry. And then the next day, people were chanting in Times Square. The very first time I was ever in New York City, it was August of 2001. And it was like a fairy tale. It was all like men in suits going to work. And like, I don't know, it was just the city was a total different vibe. So yeah, I do think we're under attack. I think our way of life is under attack. Look at everything. Look at how trendy and cool it is to say American culture is crap. Look how trendy and cool it is to not be proud of your American flag and to chum up with groups that are pro terror. It's like the cool thing to do now. So we are under attack, and we're not used to it because we're taught that we're not used to this. We just grew up in a comfortable way of life, and I don't think that we've realized how quickly the rug has been pulled out from under us and how quickly it has changed. And I don't say that to scare anyone. I think it's just objectively true, and I don't think anyone can deny it at this point. It wasn't just that. Let me tell you about. Let's see. I in 2020, the summer of love, the George Floyd protests. If you look back on my YouTube channel, that's when I started, and I basically lived in Protest Central in West Hollywood, California. So we had mass looting and rioting, and buildings were on fire in my neighborhood. Um, and then we had a 1 p.m. curfew for about a week. We had National Guard come out. We're on all of our buildings, 1 p.m. curfew. What a lot of people don't realize, it wasn't just random like looting and taking advantage of the situation. It was that, but it was also, there were parts of it that were extremely targeted. And I later watched an interview with one of the chapter leaders in Los Angeles, and she admitted that the BLM protests were, a lot of them were very targeted, and one of the areas that they targeted was the Fairfax district. I know this because I went there the next day to help clean, and you won't see a lot of publications cover it because I don't think they realize what happened. There was just so much chaos. But that area is like, it's like the historic like Jewish area. It's a lot of synagogues, a lot of Jewish businesses. That area was attacked as well, and every synagogue in that area was vandalized. There were some nasty things written. So to also see that, to be in West Hollywood, California, it's like the epitome of a liberal, it's literally a liberal safe haven. West Hollywood, California was founded in like 1984 or something. It's literally a liberal safe haven. It's supposed to be a safe haven for gay men. It is. Look it up. It's the history. And it happened there. I remember going and cleaning up all of that, like seeing your neighborhood on fire. I also learned how easy people can be manipulated because that was when we were on lockdown too. I had friends that lived maybe just like 3 or 4 blocks from where buildings were literally on fire during the protests. And they had no idea that happened. When they saw J6, they were like appalled. They were like, oh my gosh, law and order. Your neighborhood was literally, this is how we've been taught to hate ourselves. Your neighborhood was literally on fire. You cheered the people on that came to your neighborhood and burnt your businesses down. And then when they get attacked, the people that egged on your neighborhood getting attacked, Nancy Pelosi, AOC, all of those people, the people that cheered your neighborhood getting burnt down when oh my gosh, the Twilight Zone, the absolute Twilight Zone that has been the past 4 years. I just want to go back to normal. But unfortunately, this is where we are as a country, and hopefully people wake up, especially the liberals that have been convinced to vote for open borders, to vote for criminal justice reform, soft on crime prosecutors, all of that. They're going to need to wake up more than anyone. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter whether you are on their side or not. It's our way of life that is not liked. It's your happiness. It's your freedom. The happier and freer you are, the more you celebrate, the more angry it makes the people that want to attack, whether it's on an individual mental health level or a higher, highly organized level. It's this whole way of life that is under